the SaaS, the software itself, is just the vehicle. It's just a vehicle that allows all of your offers to operate in a fluid, a smooth way. But at the end of the day, it is your system and your strategies that allow that
Mhm.
offer to thrive and actually make your customers love you for it.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the High Level Spotlight Sessions, where we showcase awesome marketers doing awesome marketing. Today, I am joined by a repeat guest, William Villalobos from TheFuturesio. He is the creator of The Futures. William, thanks so much for coming back on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So it's good to be here. It's good to see you again as well.
It's great to see you. It was awesome to get to meet some of your team members at Traffic and Conversions. We were booth neighbors. They were right next to us. And so it was fun getting to hang out with you guys there as well.
Yeah, I heard really great things. I heard you guys got really close and kept each other warm because apparently it was really cold one of the days.
Yeah, it was. It was absolutely freezing. That's pretty funny. Yeah, we
Yeah, no,
shared
I
a
mean
booth wall. It was
it's
fun.
all part of the whole ecosystem, right? We work with a lot of marketers and so on. So it just made sense that we met there actually.
So we love the futures. They've helped so many in the high level community, and I think what we love most about the futures is they do one amazing design work, but two, they'll actually build the designs into high level pages, which they give you in snapshots, which is so amazing if you're a high level customer because you don't have to take like the design file and then find somebody to go turn it into an actual page. And so we love we love recommending the futures, and I'm glad to have William back on the show to get. It's probably been almost a year since you were on the show last, I think, and I'd love to just sort of hear about what it's been like over the past 12 or so months. I'm sure you guys have done hundreds of pages for high level agencies by this point. So talk to me about some of the trends that you've seen over the past, let's say, year.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. So one of the things that I want to say is that we first started off as users. So we're avid users of the platform of Go High
Hmm.
Level, and through that process, we realized, well, we're really good at doing this for ourselves. Why don't we put that as one of the verticals that we offer alongside graphic design, video editing, and slide decks, right? So Go High Level seemed like as an easy transition for us to do that and to make it part of one of our subscriptions. So as we started onboarding more and more Go High Levelers, to put it in a certain way, I even wrote an article recently about it, and the title of the article was "The 7 Things That I Learned or That We Learn After Producing Over 300 to 400 Pages a Month." And that's not for ourselves; that's for our customers. And a lot of the things that we learn, I mean, there's certain commonalities that you see, right? So we're seeing a lot of people in different levels. So people that go that are just starting the marketing agency and really like 7 and 8 figure agencies working with the futures.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things that they all have in common is how they can churn out basically a page that is that looks really professional, that doesn't look like the typical like funnel trap or the typical like thing that you fall onto and you're like, is this a legit business or not, type of thing. So the legitimization of that sometimes comes through design, also comes through the authority that that seller or that person is portraying. So that's what we do. So when we design these pages, we do it in under 72 hours, and we do the whole thing. So you do the whole page, and a lot of the things that, and I took some notes on these earlier on what we're seeing as things that a lot of people are doing. So because we charge a flat monthly rate and you can basically produce as all you can eat in terms of pages, a lot of people are starting now to basically take a lot of these brick and mortar businesses that never had a presence online, or that had a really poor presence online, and they're taking it online within a week. So what they do is that now with the power of High Level, they're not only just doing a page for them that to have a presence online, but they're doing what basically I like to call a smart page, which allows you to not only have that presence there online, but immediately you start to get leads, you start to get reviews, you have to get all these things that come alongside having
Mm-hmm.
a high level, uh, you know, uh, page with all the features and all the stuff that come with it. As people jump into SaaS, for example, then we see newer stuff. People start to create new offers, and I've seen it all. I've seen people have two offers, three offers. They try to make one the premium offer that has all these features and gadgets and stuff like that. So one of the things that I wrote in that article was based on the fact that you can look at SaaS, and I've seen it all. I've seen SaaS, software as a service. I've seen SaaS as system as a service. I've seen it as a strategy as a service. So when you look at that, at the end of the day, um, the SaaS, the software itself, is just a vehicle. It's just a vehicle that allows all of your offers to operate in a fluid, a smooth way. But at the end of the day, it is your system and your strategies that allow that
Mm-hmm.
offer to thrive and actually make your customers love you for it, right? So
Have you seen any crazy niches?
yes, I mean crazy, and I think really cool. So we've seen laser tag.
Nice.
Yeah, so laser tag is one interesting one. I think there is somebody doing something, and to be honest, I don't exactly know how their what's their business exactly, but they do. Well, I don't know if this is crazy enough, but then a lot of people you can see that they do gyms and stuff like that. When you start going into like jiu-jitsu or people that are doing music schools, for example,
That's a cool niche.
or yeah, so I see a lot of that. I've seen some of these more the common ones are coaching, mentoring, dentistry, or law. We see real estate a lot.
Mm-hmm.
um, but then at the end of the day, I mean, if you think about how many people are yet to discover go high level, the opportunity is still huge, right? uh,
Well, I'd love to talk a little bit more about something that you mentioned because I absolutely love the idea of the modernization of what the website is, right? Like if we think back, you talked about, you've seen people taking brick and mortar businesses that had never had an online presence and giving them a website in 72 hours, which to me is crazy that they even still exist. Like how could a business be in existence without a website today? But I could very well see that lots of them are still on their first website, meaning they got a website
yeah.
10, 15 years ago that they paid a lot of money for, and they've just resisted updating ever since because they think it's going to cost them a lot of money again. And so, what I love is and correct me if I'm wrong, you as a designer, I think the trend is getting simpler and simpler, simplifying and simplifying and simplifying as much as you can. Look at Linktree. Look
Mhm.
at, I just saw Buffer rolled out their version of Linktree. I just did a tutorial on how to build a Linktree page in HighLevel in 10 minutes. In my mind, I'm thinking that might be my website if I were to open a business today. Like the bare minimum, just give people what they want and let them go to Instagram if they want to look at photos of what you do. Let them go to Google Maps if they want to figure out, where you are, that kind of stuff. But do you agree with me? Do you feel like simplicity is what's new?
Yeah, 100%. So that's gonna happen in everything, right? It's gonna happen in the way we sell and in the way we communicate. If you look at, for example, Slack replaces a lot of emailing back and forward for
Mm-hmm.
once. Um, the one thing that I see is, for example, people that still have these old websites, I used to say, like for 10 years, and they resist to move to the next level. And the next level is just to make a fresher new thing that basically explains your whole thing in one go, and you
Mm-hmm.
can succinctly put that idea out there without wishy-washy copy or things that are just convoluted, make your message confusing. So I see the link tree comparison as a really good one, and a lot of the things that HighLevel allows you to do really quickly is that you can actually make it mobile friendly like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can view it like this in a way that it is actually, you can actually start. I mean, um, it's it's a mobile first world if we think
Yeah,
about it, right?
100%.
Yeah. So and it wasn't like that. Let's say 15 years ago, with the arrival of the iPhone and all this type of stuff, things change, right? So the less things that you have people to distract themselves with, the more successful your offer will be. So in a way, building websites has moved more onto building a funnel that behaves like a tool that allows you to get all the information that you want in one
Exactly.
screen. And we're getting now going back to the question that we had before about trends. I'm looking at the amount of requests that we get on the daily basis, and I'm looking at a lot of people that are producing basically the three-step funnel, and some people are trying to get into a two-step funnel mentality, and I think it's going to keep on reducing. But the idea of the three-step funnel, of course, for those of you that might not know, is that they have an opt-in page, then you have a booking page with the calendar and stuff, and then you have a thank you page. Simple as that. But that opt-in page has a structure that you know depending on how you structure it, you can have a video on top, or you can have a bunch of things that basically are trying to persuade you to get that product out there. And at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, it's the same messaging that you've seen in any brick and mortar shop, which is, can I trust you? Have you been around a good amount of time, enough for me to believe that you're going to deliver what you're saying that you can deliver?
Mm-hmm.
And can I afford you? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have those three elements within that storyline, that narrative, the next step is easy. It's just either purchase or book a call. And that's it. That's already two steps.
Well,
So
see, this is what I was just thinking about this the other day. If I were running an agency still, we sold a lot of websites. And the way that I would position it now is, hey, we're the best marketers in our industry, whatever your industry is, your niche, right? And we know that the best websites are this template. And I wouldn't even show, it wouldn't have any images on it. It would be a wireframe, and it would just be the elements, like you said. Your hero images here with your call to action here. Your trust logos are here. Your review strip is here, whatever. Um, and this is not, don't think of it as a website, think of it as a system, right? It's got the capture form on it, it has the chat widget on it, it's the whole thing. And it's an on-demand model. You there is no fixed cost to this. It's a monthly fee because it's a system. It's not just a website. And if they were like, oh, but I want all these crazy bells and whistles that our last website had, or blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. We can do custom sites, and those start at $10,000. Let's talk about it. And it's going to be a big project. Oh, whoa, $10,000. Like, yeah, trust me, you don't need all that stuff. Stick with whatever you call it. But I would sell the heck out of simplified high-level websites that have everything ready to go. It's in the snapshot, and you're essentially just, I would have a form they fill out. It would go to you guys. You guys would plug it in, you would design it into the framework, and it would be launched. And to me, it would be so easy to sell because it's like, you'd be stupid to just buy a website in today's day and age. You need a system, right? You need, what happens when I fill out that form? Am I going to get, is it going to nurture me into a booking? Because that's what you want, not just a page. You know what I mean?
yeah, 100%. I mean, to tag along on what you're saying, just to give you a good example, we have seen there's a couple of eight-figure agencies that are working with us that I see how they operate, and they don't see websites as like, hey, here I am, this is my storefront. They see HighLevel as a living thing. So
Exactly. Yeah.
is a living thing means that it's constantly evolving, it's iterative, and you need to look at these things as a thing that you need to go back to it. And as soon as the market reacts, meaning what kind of objections, why people are not booking, or why people are not buying from this button. So you need to have the ability to keep on constantly making those revisions and changes to your pages until you have what they call a highly converting page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I'm seeing in the larger agencies, which I think a lot of the smaller agencies can learn from, is that they are launching. I mean, I can count one. There's one agency that I know that is launching at least 6 offers a month, and they're completely different, right? At the end of the day, their fulfillment is similar, it's basically packaged and the same, but the language, the narrative, the BSL, the video that they put in front of the customer, even the
Mm-hmm.
color of the page is different. because you know how people used to do like Facebook ads and stuff, and they used to like A/B test those. Now the
Yeah,
pages are the ones that are getting A/B tested on, right?
absolutely,
So
right? Because now that we have A/B testing in HighLevel, again, it's such a better model. Instead of trying to get a bigger chunk of money up front, don't
mhm.
even price it. It's part of the system. The system is whatever, $500 a month. And now you're like, yeah, and every month we're going to A/B test some element of the page. It's going to continue to perform better and better as we go. Now you have them thinking long term, right? They're not thinking about, oh, this is a 3-month project and then I can stop paying you. No, 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 no. That's not how it works. It's not $10,000 a month, which, by the way, when you're selling websites at 10,000 and above, you sell very few of them. It's few and far between, right? So in my mind, this way, you're going to land way more clients. They're going to be way happier because they just got a quote for 10 grand. They got a quote for 15 grand. They got a quote for whatever. And wait, you're telling me it's $500 a month and there's no $10,000 upfront anything? No, 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 no. It's a system, right? And I think it's just a whole new model that makes way more sense to me.
Yeah, and then I mean, just to go, on that line as well. There's a couple of things that I've seen some of the people that work with us do. For example, Dar, who leads this amazing group called Road to 100 on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, he has a lot of people doing SaaS, and he has a coaching um, uh, thing that he teaches how he thrive with
Yeah.
SaaS. One of the things that he says a lot is, that he does with the futures is that he refreshes his current customers' landing pages every so often, because it gives them that sense of like, whoa, okay, it's not that I paid for this a while ago and then it's there and I pay for it. Having the ability to work with, for example, the futures, and having the ability to just change it within 3 days and have that present to your customer, and the customer is like, whoa, you just updated all of these things. I look like a 2021 website or landing page, or you're just creating a new funnel
Mm-hmm.
for me because you're thinking about my sales. I think the new marketer needs to be thinking about their customers' sales and results and benefits. So as cliche as it sounds, the service of a marketing agency shouldn't be like, here's your present and here's like your leads, go for it. Like, it should be
No,
like, how many sales did you close this month? Let me try some new things for you on your behalf so you can get even more next month, I think.
absolutely. And I think I love how it maps because, again, when you sell it, you could be like, this is what's going to happen month one or whatever. In month two, we're going to test a variant of your hero image. And by the end of month two, you will confidently know which one performs better. And then in month three, we're going to go to the next section and A B test something there. And so, this over the course of 6 months, we're going to refine the performance of your homepage to the point where you're going to confidently know that design is the optimal one. Just so now they're thinking like 6 months ahead, like, oh, I'm going to be paying you for 6 months because we're going to go on this journey and the page is going to continue to evolve. I think it's just way more like I ran a lot of website projects, WordPress website projects, probably more than 1,000 sites. And a lot of them were really painful and they didn't have to be that way because it
Yeah.
was just letting the client go off on these whims of what they think that they want. And after a while, we got good at being like, no, 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 trust me, we've done 100 websites in your industry. Like, you don't need any of that stuff. This is what matters. But the turnaround, it was still a very long process. It was a 4-month minimum process to get it out there. But if I have a HighLevel template, you're turning around in a week, right?
Yeah, actually, it's under 72 hours. So you send something in, we give it to you snapshot ready in under 72 hours. And snapshot ready, we mean the design stuff. We don't do any of the triggers and the coding on the stuff on the back end, all the
Yeah.
cables that you put on. I call it the cables, but it's basically like all your campaigns and emails and stuff. That's the marketer's job to do. We are a design company, so we focus on making you look the part in a reliable way, in a trustable way. So also, what I notice is like a lot of people, when our team gets on calls with our customers, people are asking, oh, prospects, they're asking like, oh, this is my niche, can you show me a bunch of stuff
Hmm.
that that you have done in our niche? So one thing that I mentioned in the article as well is like it's good and great to emulate some of the stuff that other people are doing,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say that having an authentic output on what your system and strategy is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it is important in the sense that, let's say you are in Kansas, for example, and you are doing, I don't know, you're working with dentists. There will be other high-level users or other, anybody that's doing something similar. So it is the authority and the expertise that you portray on that will make you different and will make you stand out. That comes through design, that also comes through narrative, that comes through your offer. So the way that you spice things up is basically on your offer, and your offer you can actually keep on changing and iterating on until you find the perfect sweet spot that has the right pricing, that people are like, zero churn for you and never leaving you because I pay something that is, it just makes sense. It's what we call blitz offers,
Mm-hmm.
which means that you offer so much value that it's really really hard for somebody to want to leave you, and having that ability to keep on adding or subtracting as you feel the market is important, I think. And the high level offers that. The futures helps in doing that as well. But it is that is analyzing and studying your personas, whether you're going horizontal or vertical in your offer. If that
I'd
makes
love to
sense.
ask you about things that people come to you for that are not good ideas that you help them sort of rethink. Are there certain things that you see where it's like, hey, that's an outdated idea, or trust me, you don't want to do that, you want to do it like this? Do you see much of that?
So yeah, sometimes I've gotten some of the calls, and then I think some of the things that we see are based on the fact that they want to do too many things at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
too much, and rather than keeping it really simple and keeping your offer really to the point. So HighLevel offers so many things, so many really good things, but
Yeah.
the customer has how do you call it, a span of attention nowadays. It
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
takes, it's such we are a scrolling society, right? We're like,
Sure.
wait. So in that way of thinking, you should make your offer something that they can read within seconds and get it, instead of having a laundry list of 20 things that you offer them. And just tell them, this is what you're going to get: more sales, and you're going to get it through this and that. So when we're building landing pages, we tell people, do not talk so much, uh, I mean, do not talk so much about the technology, which is high level in a way. The technology has to feel like it's magic. It has to
Mm.
be like it's a superpower. You have to make them feel that you're gonna get them these sales through your narrative, and then once they just press that button and they start seeing those reviews being populated and their stuff, they're like, how did this happen? Like, so that if you make your customer feel like this is like a freaking superpower, or like, whoa, how did they do that? I think that's when GHL or Go High Level really comes in. It makes you feel like you have all of these things and you don't know how it happened, but it happened. And that's the
Yeah.
feeling that everyone's looking for when they're purchasing, I think.
That's tough. I mean, do you guys help people with that? Because I feel like what we're talking about is a lot of several people I've interviewed on this show have done a good job of telling their version of this idea, which is, like story brand, um, these types of folks who it's like, don't talk about yourself, talk about your customer and what their, like, the story brand motto is your customer needs to be the hero of the story, not your business. So if I'm talking about designing my white labeled version of HighLevel, I don't want to make it about my features. I want to make it about your journey and how I help you get there. So you're a dentist and you need more patients. Well, our platform generates patients on demand. Well, now you're
Mm-hmm.
speaking my language. I'm the hero in the story. You're going to help me get where I need to go, instead of, you're a dentist, we're this amazing software with a million different features, and the dentist is like, I'm here for patients. Like, I don't care about automation. I mean, I guess I do if it's going to get me more patients, right? But I
Yeah.
imagine that would be hard as a design company to help people figure that part out.
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to the future, we have three offers. This is the basic, the advanced, and the business. The first two, basic and advanced, is basically what we call a done with you, which means that you have to somehow have an idea of what you're selling and what your offer is, and create a certain kind of a structure and give direction, provide clear direction. We deal with so many industries, and by now, sometimes I feel like, well, I cannot possibly become an expert in every single industry, but there are some generic underlying factors that every single business, me as a person that is part of a business, have gone through and understand that these are timeless and these will, they will be there, and then you will have to deal with them. And that is true. I mean, one of the seven things that I learned that I mentioned in this article are is you, it's not me, that game of is you, it's not me,
Yeah.
because a lot of people go and I mean, we mention it to people, but it is their job to come up with this. But we mention to them, like, when we have a call or something, um, if you could just refrain from saying, we have, 25 years in the industry. I mean, which is fine. That's great. I mean, that's like a good part on the back and stuff. And that's amazing. A lot of people have a lot of experience for years in any industry, right?
Hmm.
That's great. Or the idea of, like, we have the best in class software to do this and stuff like that. Like, that's like foreign, so foreign to somebody that just
Yeah.
comes back home at the end of the day, wants to have a relaxing day with their kids, and wishes they had more sales.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
do I have a great software with me? No, they think like, did I make three more sales this week so I can, like, my business is growing. You know what I mean?
100%. And that's why I'm actually reading the Story Brand book right now because I love the way the analogy they make, which is pretty much every superhero story, every hero, every movie, there's a potential hero who has to go on a journey, overcome some challenges to, become whatever. But there's always a guide, right? There's always a Yoda. There's always a somebody who either gives them a power or a piece of knowledge or a tool that helps them defeat the bad guy or whatever it is. And they're like, that's your role as as the white label version of HighLevel. You're the guide and they're the hero. So once that becomes clear, it's like, oh, I get it now. We need to advertise ourselves as the Yoda that
Mm-hmm.
takes young Jedis and helps them find their superpower, right? We take dentists and help them get home for dinner. We take whatevers and, get them on the golf course once a week. And that for me was like a real wow, that makes total sense because most companies do it the other way around. Like, oh, we're the best. Our software is amazing. We do all this stuff. We've been doing it for 25 years. We've generated $1 billion. That kind of stuff is not what resonates.
Like, it's like I mean, yeah, but who cares, right? Like, there's that, like, I mean, we hear about a lot of, I mean, I see it all the time, and I understand it. I understand that because it's easier to talk about your own narrative rather than try to put yourself in the shoes. I
Mhm.
get it, but that's part of the work, right? I mean, also, everyone that watches the spotlights or watches any of these conversations is usually a business owner or a potential business owner, right? Or somebody that wants to get into that. And there's a privilege to that, right? The privilege is that, no, I mean, it was less than 1% of the world is building businesses. The rest of the world is a consumer type of,
Mhm.
ecosystem world, right? So if you are trying to build a business, just know that it's going to take some time, some effort. It's going to take some iterations, and it's going to take handling objections. It's going to take iterations. It's gonna be really great news some days, and some days are like, whoa, I'm putting out fires here and there. It's part of the process, but it's the price you pay for a different kind of freedom that the rest of the world is probably, like, that's mostly consuming, is not probably getting, or they're getting it in that way. I mean, everyone is shaped differently, and I
Mhm.
respect all kinds of way of looking at the world, but that's one big differentiator. And you're right about the light at the end of the tunnel, or the how do you call it, the Sherpa, the person
Yeah, yeah,
that
the
somehow,
Sherpa, yeah.
right, the kind of lead. I think that's needed in every single industry and in every single kind of project or thing that you embark on. I think you need to look at people that are doing things properly. Also, I find that there's a lot of people that want to do these things and lead that way, and then you just need to find the one that you resonate with the most,
Mhm.
in terms of do I feel that I trust this person, that I like this person, that is my style. And at the end of the day, you buy from people that you care about and like, or you see yourself somewhat in them, because that's the first way in which that's the first touch for trust, right?
Yeah.
So people will buy from your competitors sometimes, and that's totally fine. But
It's
it's
like
not a,
that.
it's yeah,
I can't remember. There's somebody has a famous saying of something along the lines where, like, if you're not offending somebody, you can't ever. The idea is that, like, certain people should go to your website and be turned off. Oh, these guys are not for us. Because if you're not that clear about who you're not for, then somebody will always be more clear about who they are for than you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be in the middle trying to appeal to everybody. You want to make it really clear that we work with these types of folks and not everyone, because that will resonate more with a specific group of people than if that specific group of people go to the site and it's just very bland of like, we're the best for everybody. And I always thought
yeah,
that was an interesting way to think about it. Do people go to my website and think, oh, these are not the right guys for me? Because if not, you're not being sort of specific enough.
yeah, 100%. And I think that what happens there is that when you're going into the mode of like, I see a lot of comments, you know when people talk about business and stuff, and they talk about like, can I get my whole business package and I'll just pay you? It's like, well, if it was that easy, then
Yeah.
everyone will be doing business. Everyone will be starting a business tomorrow, and everyone will be super wealthy and stuff. I think that's why business owners are a minority, and that's
Yeah.
why the world's innovating, because that minority works really hard to innovate and come up with things that fix those pain points that others are not willing to put up with, because rejection is something that you either accept or don't, or you have different levels of acceptance to it. So
Mm-hmm.
tolerance, and then having a thick skin is important in any single type of game. uh, One thing based on that, I mean, I spent some time with darts group, for example, and I noticed that um, uh, just like perhaps me at the beginning when I started the business, uh, you always want to learn all the tactics and all the strategies of how to do things. But I think sometimes you can have the tactics and you can have all the answers to the questions, but it is in the execution and it is in the mindset to executing those things that actually makes you cross the pond or go to the other
Mm-hmm.
side.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have to swim really hard to go across the pond, and sometimes there's crocodiles and piranhas and whatever, right? So
Yeah.
just trying to work on analogies here, but the idea there is that you have to either put your toes on the water for a little bit, and then you can put your leg, and then you can start like you know walking into the water, and
Waiting.
then you start swimming. It is a process. It takes time, and I truly believe that everyone starting a business with SaaS or Go High Level or a marketing agency can do it. I believe anyone can do it. Well, I'll take that back. I think anyone that really wants it can do it. And but you have to really want it, and you have to have what I call it. It's like having firecrackers on your bone, right? You have to have that something pushes you, because you have a certain mission, a certain purpose, or something. Whether it's your kids, is legacy of your parents, whether it's something that drives you. Once you find that drive there, that firecracker will always be, pushing you forward. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So tell me, I know we're getting late on time here, but I would love to know what's next for the future. So you guys have had a great year.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing design, you're building it out into high level pages. Do you guys have anything new on the horizon, or are you just going to continue to get better and more efficient at what you're doing now? What's 2022 look like for the futures?
Yeah, 100%. So thanks for the question, actually, because there's a couple of things that are really important to mention. So we do graphic design. We deliver that in under 24 hours. We do video editing. We deliver that in under 48 hours. Slide decks for VSLs and stuff in 24 hours. And Go High Level pages in under 72 hours. What we're now doing is that we're going to start doing WordPress. So that's something that is already on that. And I know that
Oh wow.
High Level is
Yeah,
integrating
we're
that
going to
in there.
enable, we're rolling out WordPress hosting. Yep.
So that's coming up with the futures if it's not live as we speak right now. And also we're integrating with your favorite uh, communication tools, Slack. So you will be able to completely integrate your the futures platform and all of your requests and all of your stuff that come through the pipeline every day, and do it all through Slack. Uh, Places like ClickUp, Monday.com, etc., etc. So those
Nice.
integrations
Cool.
are ready, and for those of that are our customers, they can immediately start using those as soon as they're ready.
Very cool. That's awesome. Well,
Oh, one more
so
thing. We are
yeah, go ahead.
7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So if you think about it, the typical design agency or whatever, we're not an agency, but the typical design company only serves you office hours Monday to Friday usually. With us, you always get a response, whether it's 2 a.m. or 3 p.m. your local time.
The future never sleeps.
The features never sleeps. Yeah, it's true.
Awesome. Well, the URL is futures.io. Or wait, is it
The
the futures?
futures.io, yeah.
Thefutures.io. So if you guys have design needs, especially if you need them built out in HighLevel, I would suggest that you head over there and check them out.
Yeah,
William, thanks so much
100%.
for hanging out.
Yeah, no, thanks for talking, and talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you guys in the next one.